Hi guys, it's Mrs. Hurley. I have to be at home. My son is sick today, so I thought that I would show you guys what you should be working on for your project. You should have your writer's notebook and a pencil in the story pit with you. If not, you'll need to stop here for a second and get them. Turn to your next clean page in your writer's notebook and then write what you see on this here. So I'm going to be showing you in Google Drive today, but you're just going to be doing it in your notebook. Okay, so today you're going to need to narrow down your choice to whichever god or goddess you have decided to do from Greek mythology. I know last time we looked at a couple of different ones and you found some that you thought were interesting and some that you thought were not. So right here where it says topic, I just want you to pick the god or goddess that you want to do and then put it here. If you don't remember what some of the choices are, you can raise your hand and pass the paper back out that shows you what some of the choices were. And maybe look at some of the ones you circled and pick from there. So why don't we pause and pass out those papers, and then everybody can come back and then write the name of the god or goddess that they've chosen right here where it says topic. Okay, so I'm gonna, for the example for this, just pick Zeus. That's what I'm gonna do. So I wrote Zeus in the topic, and then one of the things I have to stop and think about are what are some of the pieces of information that I want to find out about this god or goddess. And then you're just going to take a few minutes to brainstorm some questions that you have that you want to be answered while you're doing your research. So for example, one of the things that I want to know is, and I'm sure a lot of you want to know this as well, what is his power? Okay, if he is a powerful god, what is it that he can do? Another thing I'm thinking of are what are his character traits? Okay, so is he someone that seems angry, or is he someone that seems peaceful? Okay, and as you're recording your questions, make sure that you leave some space between each question, because we are going to actually, when you go back to answer these, you're going to answer them underneath the questions. So make sure that you leave a few lines between each question, and some of the ones like what are some famous stories involving Zeus, you may want to leave more space for your answers. Okay, and obviously some of your questions may look similar to some of my questions. I imagine everybody probably has what are his or her powers, but some of your questions may look a little bit different, and that's okay too. Okay, when you're done answering your questions, then we have to go try and find information for where to find them. So last week I showed you how to look at places like Britannica or World Book. So that is what I'm going to show you again right now, just to remind you. And it's important to remember that when we are doing this, we are taking information that we found from other people, and we need to make sure that we give credit to where the answers are coming from. We are not able to come up with the answers ourselves. If we were, it wouldn't be a research project. So we need to make sure it's what we call citing our sources, that we give credit to where this information is coming from. And I'm not going to show you how to do all of that today, but I'm going to at least show you something that will help save the articles so that when we need to go back and cite them, it will be easiest for us to do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go, remember there are two different ways you can get to our databases. You can either go through fcps.edu, or you can go to our Willow Springs site. So I will just go this time to fcps.edu. And then I will scroll down until I see the library tab. And then remember, I click on databases. All right, so I might want to start at Britannica. I think I spelled that incorrectly. Okay, so I'm just going to hit in Britannica. And I'm going to go to the school edition. Remember, you scroll down and hit go to resource. Okay, so then in here in elementary, I'm going to search for Zeus, since he is my god, and you can see an encyclopedia article pops up right here. Okay, so here we are. All right, so I am going to read this article today to search for information related to my question. Okay, and remember, there's a play feature right here if you want it to play part of it for you, and then you can make the font size larger if you need to, or smaller if you need to. Any of those things. So I'm just going to read a little bit right now and see if I can answer some of my questions. All right, so it says the most powerful god in ancient Greek mythology was Zeus. He was considered the ruler of all gods as well as humans. Zeus was said to live on top of Mount Olympus with the other major gods. From there, he could see everything that humans did. He sent thunder, lightning, rain, and winds down to earth. Zeus is associated with the Roman god Jupiter because they shared many traits. Two of Zeus's symbols are the thunderbolt and the eagle, and he used the thunderbolt as a weapon. Okay, I know that at least that answered one of my questions. So what was his power? It says right there. So he was the ruler of all the other gods and of humans as well. Now here's something else that's going to be really important. We are taking information from a site, and we're going to give credit to this article, but I still can't take this information word for word. I can't copy a sentence and just write down the exact sentence. Okay, that's called plagiarizing, where we take somebody's ideas and put them as our own. So even if we're giving them credit, I still have to reword it in my own way. So be careful that when you're writing down answers, you do not just copy a sentence like this, okay, and then rewrite it into either your Google Doc or your writer's notebook page. We can't do that. We have to write it in our own way because we're not the one who came up with that sentence. All right, so I'm just going to write on mine. I can't take that. I'm just going to write that he ruled all of the humans and other gods. So notice it's the same information, but I'm putting it in my own words. So I'm going to write Zeus ruled over the humans as well as the other gods. So notice I'm going to double check my work to make sure I didn't just take their sentence, but I want the information to be the same. So it says Zeus ruled over the humans as well as other gods. Okay, he was considered the ruler of all the other gods as well as of humans. So I've changed the sentence enough that I am not taking their sentence. All right. The other thing that it said was that he had two symbols. Okay, the thunderbolt and the eagle. Now, I didn't have a question for that, but that's something that I might want to add to what I had. So I'm probably going to go down now and realize I might need to have a question that just says, what are some interesting facts? So maybe something that doesn't necessarily fit anywhere, but something I want to put in. I can't put everything in about him, but that is something that I think might be interesting. All right, so his symbols are the thunderbolt. Oops. And the eagle. Okay, and then I can keep going with other interesting facts that I have found. I also noticed down here, I was doing skimming, that it says right here, Zeus was also the protector of cities, the home, property, strangers, and guests. So I'm going to write that information down, probably under his power, but I want to make sure that I, again, put that in my own words, right? I can't just take a sentence and copy it and put it in the page. So I will say that he also guarded over, and I'm going to go back and look exactly what it said. So notice I changed, instead of saying the protector of cities, I'm saying he guarded over, and I might put some of these words in a different order. So strangers, guests, property, and even cities. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to do this for all of my questions, but hopefully you at least see that's how this works. All right, I took my brainstorm questions. I'm going to skim some of the databases and search for information, and then if I find information that go with mine, then I am going to put it in my own words when I'm answering the questions. All right, so now what I need to show you is, since I'm using this article, okay, it is very important that I am able to show the teacher or show Mrs. Hurley, whoever it is, that I'm taking information from this article. So I will show you how to do that later. For right now, what you need to make sure that you do is I want you to email this article to yourself. That way, when we talk about how to cite it, you won't have forgotten which article you use. So any article that you find information on that you're going to use to answer questions, you're going to email it to yourself. All right, so right here where it says email, put in your FCPS Gmail. So mine, schools.net, okay? And then I don't have to, but I can do that, okay? All right, so you're putting your email address, right, your school email address, the one that you have for Gmail. And if you need to stop and go into your Google account and figure out what it is, you're more than welcome to do that. But it's normally your ID number and then at fcpsschools.net. So I'm going to hit submit. Oh, okay. I will use my other one. You could also use the same one. So let's see. Just checking to make sure it's correct. Okay, it says right there, I've successfully emailed the article. That way, when we go and talk about how to cite our sources, you will have the article somewhere and you won't remember. If you don't remember to email it to yourself, later on you might not remember which articles you used. So this will just make it one step easier, okay? All right, so that's what you're working on today. Once your brainstormed questions are done, you are looking in some of the databases and you are trying to find some answers to some of your questions, and don't forget that you are putting them in your own words, all right? All right, so use your time wisely, and next week when we come back, we will talk about how to cite these. All right, guys, have a great Monday.